Liftoff. Chapter 2.
What do you think, Walt? We've been talking it over for some while now. Can't say we ever saw a craft, but there is someone here who just might have stepped out of one.
Who? Sam Eversore? Yeah, that's as good an explanation as any. He can't seem to remember anything at all about his past. Never did exactly think of him as an alien, but now that you mention it, he's about as unidentified as you can get.
You guys are putting me on.
No, he's real enough. Can't say we ever saw him fly, though.
How did he end up here?
Old Joe down at the cafe found him wandering around disoriented. He brought him here and got him a room. At least that's how the story goes.
Old Joe, you say? That's interesting. Any chance I can meet him?
Well, suggested Zeke, you'd have to fill out a visitor's form stating who you wish to visit, including the time and date. You could put down my name, Zeke Semicircle. Then while you're visiting me, I could take you to meet Sam.
Walter's ears picked up.
Of course there's a price to pay. Just like driving a cab, we can't afford to give away our services for free.
Okay, what's the price?
Both Artie and Zeke looked expectantly at Walter.
The price is 2 day passes for me and my friend here. We need someone to accompany us, and I think you'll do nicely.
Artie laughed. All I have to do is agree to spend a day with you two lunatics? Is that it? Okay, it's a deal.
Just tell him you're my cousin. I'll let Sam know you want to speak with him.
Artie, pondering over the situation, asked, Think there's any chance Sam could get clearance to join us as well? That way we wouldn't have to sneak around at all. It would be all above board.
When the form was filled in, 3 names were found on it. Zeke Semicircle, Walter Halfawake, and Sam Eversore, to be accompanied by Artie Odometer. Zeke inquired, Where are we going on this day of ours? We don't really have any big plans. Maybe a bowling alley. Or how about hitting the batting cage?
What about a walk in the park or down by the lake? We could take in the boats moored up at the marina,
suggested Walter. I don't think so, boys. We got to make the best use of our time. We can go bowling or boat watching later. I want to concentrate on one area only. We're going on a mission. We're going to find ourselves a UFO.
Zeke and Walter exchanged glances. Just ain't fair, is it, Walt? Seems like we're the ones that should be signing some kind of release form to let him out in public.
The following Saturday, Artie pulled up in front of the Billingsworth Hotel again. It was 10 in the morning. The 3 guys were waiting on the porch for him. Zeke and Walter climbed into the back. Sam got in the front with Artie. So you're the famous Sam. Happy to meet you. Zeke and Walter told me about your situation. I hope you don't mind, but I would like to ask you a few questions.
Sam nodded his head in agreement.
Zeke from the back seat spoke up.
Not here, Artie. Let's get this show on the road. We gotta put a little distance between ourselves and this place. You can't be too careful.
Artie slipped a cab into gear and pulled out into the street. He briefly glanced at Sam. What's the oldest memory you got, Sam?
Sam looked out to the street, as if he were watching a movie, replied, I remember being on my feet. Tired, hungry, and sore. That's when I first met old Joe.
At the cafe?
Yeah, he must have come out of his cafe and helped me in.
Artie now had a few blocks down the street, pulled over and parked. He turned to look at his 2 backseat passengers. Look, this is the situation. I guess you could say it's the reason we're all here. The night I saw whatever you want to call it, UFO or not, pull into that field, I wasn't the only one watching it. From my vantage point, I saw 2 people come out of the cafe and get into the back seat. There were 2 others watching them. One of them was old Joe, and the other person I had met earlier. and I recognized her. Her name was Molly Starstruck.
What?
Exclaimed Zeke excitedly.
We know Molly. She works part-time at the Billingsworth. What was she doing with old Joe anyway?
Could be innocent. Maybe she was just there to have a coffee, like everyone else. But that doesn't explain why she came outside that night. And to be fair, they couldn't see the field the car pulled into from where they were. But they did watch as two people entered the rear door.
And, you think what?
Inquired Walter.
You must think they're both involved, or at least have some connection to the Buick. I think you said it looked like a Buick.
Yeah, when I talked to you two guys, and you mentioned Sam here as, pardon me, Sam, as mysterious as a UFO, and that Sam had a connection to old Joe, things just started to click. Now I said, he knows Molly, and you told me Molly has a connection to the Billingsworth. Wow, is there anything further you could add? Zyke and Walter remained silent for a moment.
Well, to make a long story short,
said Zyke,
sometimes people just disappear from Billingsworth is all.
Now it was Artie's time to look confused. You mean vanish like that car did in the field? Well, I for one would have said a short while ago that's impossible. Now I'm not too sure. Things and people just can't vanish, can they? That defies logic. But one way or another, we're going to prove it. Sam, in the front seat playing with the glove box door, asked,
And how are we going to do that?
Boys, we're going on a mission. Screw on your thinking caps and fasten your seat belts. We're heading out to investigate that field.